Everyone always discusses the red flags in other people, but what about our own red flags? A man can't be on self-improvement if he doesn't look at his own red flags. That's right. Your self-improvement is meaningless garbage if you can't be brutally honest with yourself. I remember how I used to think I didn't need to change. I always had this idea that others had to accept me as I am, and if they didn't like it, it was their own problem. The crazy thing is that I was a man full of anger and trauma. I was an aggressive man, and I've hurt many people, and yet I thought I had no red flags. I never self-reflected or stopped to take ownership of my own actions, until one day I was left all alone in this world. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I did not like what I had become. So I decided to change. I let go of the chains of trauma from the past, and for the first time in my life, I felt free. I felt like I could truly start to improve myself, but it wasn't easy. My past traumas tried to pull me back in, and the childhood version of me did not want to change. The childhood version of me was fierce. He was abused and full of anger.
You are a coward! I thought you were a smartest!
That young boy refused to accept that I was going to change as a man. He tried everything he could to remind me of the pain and suffering in my life. But after a hard internal battle, I was able to change my ways and break through my traumas.
Coward!
After that, I began fixing the red flags about myself. That is what real self-improvement is. Listen, one of the reasons why I started this channel is because I feel like I need to repay the world for my actions. I must pay the price for my sins and make up for what I've done. There's a lot more I could say on how to break through traumas, but that's not what this video is about. If you want to know more about overcoming trauma, let me know in the comments and subscribe to the channel. Now, before I tell you what red flags to look out for in yourself, just know this. Your environment, family, trauma, and bad habits are not you. They do not define you. Sure, they can affect you, but they are not you as a person, so don't use them as an excuse for being pathetic. We will go over 4 red flags to look out for in yourself. Number 1, avoidant attachment. Humans are social creatures. We need each other, whether it's a brotherhood of men, a relationship with a woman, or with your family. But people with avoidant attachment styles tend to be emotionally detached and closed off. They appear confident and self-sufficient, but in reality, they lack the crucial ability to form deep connections with other humans. This is where the importance of a mother comes into play. A mother should offer her children the space to express their feelings and emotions, while she provides them with love and nurturing. But if your mother did not give you this, it could cause you to have a lack of empathy for others. One could even feel very uncomfortable in showing care for others. I was one of those people. I did not feel for others, and I was ruthless to everyone. Yes, I was very self-sufficient, but I lacked something powerful as a man. I lacked the ability to feel for others and build deep relationships. Listen, many people don't have this problem, but if you grew up in a single mother household, chances are you may recognize yourself in what I've just said. Because single mothers often try to take the role of the father, and because of that, their role as a mother automatically diminishes. No human can be a father and a mother at the same time. She will simply be a lesser version of both if she tries. Analyze yourself. If you have trouble attaching to people, the problem may not be the world out there. It may just be you. Number 2, negative self-talk. Any inner dialogue you have with yourself that limits your ability to believe in yourself and your own potential is negative. But this not only keeps you far from your potential, it also increases risk of mental health problems, such as lack of motivation and depression. But what's more, it damages the people around you because your negativity will rub off on those around you. So if you are guilty of putting yourself down with self-deprecating thoughts and jokes, it's not only self-destructive to yourself, but it's also extremely selfish as it hurts your inner circle. One way to fix this is to practice mindfulness. Number 3, big ego. When you're improving your life, it's easy to get an oversized ego, especially when you take into account that most people are lazy. It makes you feel superior to them. But this is dangerous because it will cause you to underestimate others. There is a quote that goes, "Do not scorn a weak cub. He may become a brutal tiger one day." Meaning, you don't mock those that seem beneath your level, as they may just become powerful enough one day to take you out. Instead, it's better to show respect, no matter how far ahead you are. Listen. We all have an ego, and there is a time and place where you actually need a strong ego. But most of the time, you need to keep your ego away. Humble yourself and know that there are many people that outperform you every single day. Number 4, perfectionism. Perfectionism is pathetic. You heard that right. It is an excuse for not taking risks. You see, things will never be perfect. And when you chase perfection, you are chasing a goal with no end. Picture a man that has to set sail to new land. But before he does, he decides to clean his ship until it's perfectly clean. It takes him days, weeks, months. The ship will never be perfectly clean. There is always some new dust somewhere. This man is a coward, afraid to set sail and to take new risks, so he hides it in the name of perfectionism. On top of that, perfectionists often put unrealistic pressure on their friends to meet their high standards. As a result, perfectionism can sometimes be a barrier to having fulfilling and satisfying personal relationships. There is very little upside to perfectionism. It is counterproductive for productivity. It ruins relationships. It stops you from taking risks, and it leaves you unhappy because you're never satisfied. And yet, people will proudly call themselves a perfectionist. If this is you, you must recognize that it's a red flag and not something to brag about. In the day and age where genders are being made up, manliness is fading away. But there are some skills a man will always need. Don't worry, I'm not going to tell you to hunt with your bare hands and fly jets. This video is not some unrealistic garbage. What I'm about to share with you are the skills your father or grandfather should have taught you. I grew up without anyone teaching me how to be a man. In fact, I hated my own father, and I was blinded by rage, unable to listen to anyone, unwilling to accept any help or guidance. I didn't have any skills. The only thing I was good at was violence. I had to learn things the hard way, and I failed more times than I can count. I'm making this video so you don't have to figure everything out on your own and waste years of your life. We will go over 5 skill sets every man must master. Number 1, connecting with men. Everything in life comes down to building relationships, networking with other people. This greatly dictates your success in all areas of life. Listen. I've been a lone wolf for most of my life, and I know many guys in the modern world are alone too. but I can tell you from experience, we need to connect with other men. Do not misunderstand it. If your current inner circle is holding you back, you should absolutely go your own way. It's better to go alone than to be held back by others. On top of that, every man needs to know how to turn loneliness into solitude. But that doesn't mean you should be a lone wolf for life. That mindset is dangerous and will hold you back. You need to know how to connect with other people, because no great opportunity presents itself without a connection to another human being. Most guys have the wrong idea about networking. They just want to meet high-value men and take from them for their own benefit. Instead, you must learn how to serve others in a way that is meaningful for them and helping those people win. There is a quote that goes, "If you help enough people get what they want, you will inevitably get what you want." And it's true. When you help others win, sooner or later, you will become the winner. Number 2, money. To be successful and to be the man you need to be, you got to have your money under control. You need to know how to be out of debt, how to create cash flows, and do great investments. I always say, getting money is not much different from getting women. When you chase it desperately, it will only run away. But if you know how to attract it, more will come your way. You must learn how to seduce money. Videos on making money will be made in the future. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss them. Number 3, self-defense. A man has the duty to turn himself into a weapon, because at the end of the day, one of the key pillars of masculinity is to be a protector. You should be training your body and mind in order to protect yourself and those around you. Self-defense is more than just the ability to punch someone in the jaw. It goes well beyond that. You should be able to defend yourself mentally from brainwashing and propaganda you see on social media and the news. You should also be able to read the room, meaning you have situational awareness and can anticipate things happening before they even take place. This makes it hard for anyone to catch you off guard. But you should also be able to defend yourself intellectually. Know how to get your point of view across and how to defuse situations and misunderstandings. You have the duty to become a dangerous weapon in all realms of life. Most guys overestimate their own capabilities. They think if they just get angry, they are able to handle anything. It doesn't work that way. We don't rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to the level of our training. So train, because if you want peace, you should prepare for war. Number 4, assertive communicator. Every man should become an assertive communicator, especially if he wants to be a leader. Listen, there are 4 different types of communicators you will find, and 3 out of those 4 are ineffective. First is the passive communicator. This is the wimp, the guy that appears shy and just goes with the flow. He lets others run all over him and avoids confrontation. The second is the aggressive communicator. This is the exact opposite of the wimp. He gets the job done and gets what he wants in the short term, but people end up disliking him and it does not lead to long-term success. I used to be an aggressive communicator back in the day, and although I got a lot done, it caused people to resent me. I was not fit to be a leader. Third is the passive-aggressive communicator. This is an aggressive communicator that disguises it behind humor and sarcasm. He knows aggressive communication doesn't get him far, so he applies some passiveness to it. This one is sneaky and manipulative, and it fails in the long run too. Lastly, you have the assertive communicator. This is the superior one out of the four. This is the communicator that expresses his thoughts and opinions very clearly. You see, assertiveness is a direct form of communication that shows you are willing to take a stand for yourself, but also recognize that other people as well have the right to take a stand for their beliefs. So you remain open to dialogue and compromise. A truly assertive man is honest with himself. He is comfortable changing his mind, asking for help, apologizing for his mistakes, or taking full responsibility for something that didn't go as planned. Without this single skill, you cannot become a good leader. So become an assertive communicator. It is crucial as a man. Number 5. Discipline. Perhaps I should have put this as the first step, although the steps are in no particular order. Discipline is by far the most important skill a man must possess. It leads to all the other skills. In fact, without discipline, there can be no freedom. Listen. If you want the freedom to fix your own cars, you need the discipline to learn how to fix it. If you want financial freedom, you need the discipline to learn about money and to put in the work. If you want to have success with women, it takes the discipline to learn about female nature. I could keep going, but you get the point. This video is too short to go over all the skills a man needs, but I went over 5 very important ones that will get the wheels moving. Any other skill you can think of requires discipline. You will see a lot of brainwashed people thinking liberation is letting themselves go. Women having sex in the name of freedom, and men letting themselves go with alcohol, drugs, video games, and other vices. True liberation isn't becoming an animal and doing whatever you want to do. Discipline is liberation. In order to reach the top in life, you must have a savage mentality. But no one is born a savage. In fact, everyone is born weak and fragile. You used to be a baby crying and whining if you didn't get what you want. A savage isn't born that way. He is created. I will teach you how to become a savage. But I must warn you, this video is not for little snowflakes. It's very controversial, so click away if you're a weakling. We will go over 6 things that unleash your inner savage. Number 1. Become immune to brainwashing. Society has brainwashed you to be a weak slave. When I say this, people assume I'm talking about basic forms of brainwashing like the school systems and the news. But the programming goes much deeper than that. Modern psychology is a lethal weapon of brainwashing. There is nothing that has created more weak people than Western psychology. And they've done so by putting negative labels on people. Anything that could be a gift gets turned into a curse. Think about it. You may have a lot of energy, but it will be called ADHD, and get medication prescriptions to lessen your energy. You feel depressed, and may have good reasons to feel that way too. But instead of looking at what makes you feel that way, that feeling gets labeled as a mental illness, and you get prescription drugs that lowers your life force. If you have a lot of anger inside you, perhaps because of your childhood, instead of teaching you how to control your anger and use it to your advantage, it gets labeled as a mental health condition. They'll call it intermittent explosive disorder, and you will get medication called fluoxetine. It is a medicine that can decrease your sex drive and cause erectile dysfunction, along with countless other potential side effects. I could keep naming examples, but you get the point. Every label is negative in modern psychology. They can't earn money if you're diagnosed with a gift, but they earn loads of money if you are convinced something is wrong with you. The pharmaceutical industry is one of the biggest businesses in the world. Big Pharma. And they make money by convincing you absolutely need medication. It is a very dark and yet brilliant strategy. First, they convince you something is wrong with you and sell you medication. As you suffer from the side effects of the medication, you get diagnosed again with a new disorder, and you get sold more medication, resulting in new side effects and new diagnosis. It is a vicious cycle that repeats itself and ends up destroying you. Snap out of it. It's a scam. No other self-improvement channel would expose these things like I do. And quite frankly, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to speak about this on YouTube, but I'm willing to risk it for the sake of making my followers stronger. Listen. Western psychology makes up more weakening labels than woke people make up genders. They come up with names for everything. It's impossible for a human to keep up with all these negative labels because a new one gets made up every single day. And quite frankly, I'm not interested in knowing about them either because I don't allow these weakening thoughts to enter my mind. In order to become a savage, you need to protect the gates of your mind from outside brainwashing. That is the very first step. You can't be a savage if your mind is infiltrated. That makes you a puppet. More videos on exposing methods of brainwashing will be made in the future. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss them. Number 2, become a monster and control it. The current generation is weak, but that's a good thing if you are a savage. You will be able to get anything you want because you can crush all competitors with ease. You see, most men didn't become civil by choice. Society has tamed them from the moment they were born, programmed to be a good little slave. They lack something crucial, their inner monster. Jordan Peterson once said, "You should be a monster and then you should learn how to control it." He is right. But what he forgot to add is that you should learn to control it as soon as possible. I say that because I used to be the monster without self-control, and I've caused a lot of pain and suffering. You see, my past was a very dark one. And because of that, I've been a monster for most of my life. It was necessary for survival. And anyone that comes from a part of the world that's more violent or dangerous will understand what I mean. However, because I lacked awareness and self-control, I've hurt a lot of people in my life. Some thoughts still haunt me to this very day. They wake me up in the middle of the night. But that does not mean being a monster in itself is bad. Any superhero you know is a monster with self-control. The truth is, being a monster is only bad if you cannot control it, because that is what makes you a villain. As I've grown older, I've learned to control my inner beast. I became more civilized by choice. But make no mistake about it, I still have that same monster inside me. I would never get rid of it. In fact, I bring it out whenever I need it. And if I had to pick between being civilized and harmless or keeping the monster, I'd keep the monster. Number 3, surround yourself with savages. The beautiful thing about being a man is that we can make each other stronger. Iron sharpens iron, and yet most guys hang around with marshmallows instead of iron. They become softer because of their friend group instead of stronger. Think about what I said for a moment. As men, you have the gift of making each other stronger, and yet you choose to only seek comfort together. Drinking beer, playing video games, and doing other quick dopamine activities. There is no bigger waste than surrounding yourself with soft men. You should surround yourself with men that have something to prove to themselves. Men that push themselves even when no one is watching. Because when you put two men together that have something to prove, they will push each other to the limit. It doesn't matter if it's financially, physically, or mentally. Iron sharpens iron in all realms of life. Number 4, listen to your instincts. If something doesn't feel right in your gut, or you have a weird feeling about something, take it serious. There may not be a logical or explainable reason why you feel the way you do, but that doesn't mean it's not valid. Body language doesn't lie. Instincts are there for a reason. Trust them. Listen to your body. Number 5, get primal. As a kid, you were way more primal than you are now. We lose that edge because of societal programming. It's time to tap back into it. Play, train, run, crawl, swim, jump, get dirty. Eat great food straight from the earth. Connect with the earth. Go outside. Think. Socialize with others. Honor the natural rhythms that life moves with. Number 6, enrich your mind. Fill your mind with quality content. Don't consume mindless garbage. If you like music, listen to music that leaves your mind flowing with spark, ambition, and drive. Music that makes you feel unstoppable. Watch content that adds to your character and knowledge base. Have experiences that enrich who you are and give you a sense of perspective. Are you a submissive man? Most guys will say no, but in reality, more and more men develop submissive habits, and they don't even know it themselves. They are submissive towards women, submissive at their job, and submissive towards life. Pathetic. No man ever gained anything by behaving like a worm. And if you're unsuccessful right now, there's a good chance you are too submissive, even if you deny it. Listen, it's your duty as a man to recognize your bad habits and leave them behind for good. That is why we will go over 7 daily habits of weak, submissive men. These habits must be avoided at all cost. Number 1, pleasing everyone. Submissive men are constantly pleasing others, but the best men are really a little selfish. Selfish about their own life and about their own purpose. These men know that they don't need to please everyone all the time. They're not afraid to say no or speak up when necessary. They strive to be kind and fair, but can handle other people being upset if they didn't make them happy. Number 2, dwelling on the past. Weak men constantly talk about their past. They use it as an excuse to be pathetic. Mentally strong men don't waste time dwelling on the past and wishing things could be different. Sure, they acknowledge their past and can say what they've learned from it. However, they don't constantly relive bad experiences or fantasize about the glory days. Instead, they live for the present and plan for the future. I've been through a lot in my life. In fact, this channel would have never been as big if it wasn't for my dark past. But that doesn't mean I live in the past. The past is gone. Whatever happened, happened. Your glory days are now. You have control over this moment, so don't dwell on the past. Number 3, don't challenge yourself. When is the last time you actually challenged yourself? Weak, submissive guys don't step up to challenges. They shy away from it like a scared little rat. While the best men in the world welcome a challenge with open arms, it excites them. Here is the reality. Challenges and competition directly increase a man's testosterone. especially if he wins and overcomes those challenges. And high testosterone makes a man more dominant and assertive. So find a way to challenge yourself, even if the challenge intimidates you. It is your obligation as a man. Number 4, no tribe. A man needs to have a brotherhood around him, a tribe of masculine men that will be honest with him at all times. It's easy to let yourself go or get an overblown ego when no one gives you a reality check. A good example of this is Conor McGregor and Khabib. Conor was always surrounded by yes men, surrounded by fake people that agree with him and don't dare to critique him. No one in his circle stopped him from becoming an alcoholic. That's what happens when you don't have real brothers around you that care about you. You see, love isn't always pretty. Real love means you would say something that the other person may not like for betterment of this person. It means that even if the other person doesn't like what you say, you are willing to stand in his fire because you truly care about him. Khabib always kept his brothers around him. He couldn't become a drunk party animal even if he wanted to, because his brotherhood would keep him in check. The power of a tribe is great and shouldn't be underestimated. With constant reality checks, you are forcing each other to operate at the highest level. If you have no brotherhood, you can join the free Discord tribe in the description. It's a tribe of 50,000 men on self-improvement. It's a great way to stay honest about your self-improvement journey and find like-minded men that are honest with you. Number 5, no virtue. A man of virtue is a morally good man. He does what is right and avoids what is wrong. However, we live in strange times. Times where people rely on the law and social media to teach them what's right and wrong. It's no wonder why so many people are degenerates. Listen, the law isn't here to teach you anything about morality. In fact, there are many laws you could break while you still preserve your morality. And there are many legal acts you could commit that are inhumane and evil. Listen to that again. There are laws you could break while preserving your morality, and legal acts you could commit that would be a disgrace. So you shouldn't look at the law to teach you about morality, and neither should you look at society or the internet for it. There is a quote that goes, "Without virtue, man is most unholy and savage, and worst in regard to sex and eating." That is exactly what we're seeing in 2023. People are overconsuming sex and junk food along with other vices. There are no boundaries for these people. They live a barbaric life. The superior man thinks of virtue. The small man thinks of comfort. Always remember that. Number 6, scrolling on TikTok. Can you imagine a masculine man with a purpose scrolling on TikTok? That's right, you can't. Because no man with a purpose scrolls on TikTok. Most guys will cope and say TikTok is educational. It is the biggest garbage you will ever hear. An hour spent on TikTok could be spent on reading a book. It could be spent on listening to a great podcast or learning from high-value men in real life. But instead, most people will scroll on TikTok and fry their brains with quick dopamine and garbage information. Imagine choosing TikTok over reading books. Pathetic. Number 7, idolizing celebrities. There is nothing weaker than putting another human on a pedestal, but fame and status blinds people. You see, as a result of modern mass media, People are defocused away from God. This is why we see so many people choosing to idolize celebrities over God. Now, I expect people to get triggered over this point. For some reason, most people that don't believe in God get angry when you mention God. But you must understand that everyone believes in a God. And if it's not the Almighty and powerful, it's going to be something else. Whether it's a celebrity, sex, money, politics, or science, something is going to be your God. We humans are created with the deep innate understanding that there is something bigger than us out there. There are no exceptions to this. So always check yourself to make sure you aren't putting another human being on a pedestal. Wake up to reality. Life is a battlefield, and every day is a new battle. Whether it's in a business, relationships, or personal growth, it's a constant and ever-changing war that requires you to be prepared and adaptable at all times. And just like in any war, the key to victory lies in your ability to outmaneuver and outthink your opponent. You see, we all have to compete in this world, and if you pretend to be too morally correct for competition, your goals and dreams will simply be taken away by another man. There's always someone out there that would gladly take your future wife or the income you have away from you. He may even be lurking at this very moment, waiting for you to slack off and let your guard down. So one must be prepared at all times and never get complacent. And remember, if you're a true warrior, competition doesn't scare you, it makes you better. The Art of War is one of the greatest books that can help you win the battles of life. These lessons aren't just for soldiers on a physical battlefield, but for anyone who wants to be successful in their endeavors. So pay attention, because I'm going to help you get the upper hand in any situation. Lesson 1. Know your enemy and know yourself. When Sun Tzu said know your enemy and know yourself, he was emphasizing the importance of knowing both your strengths and weaknesses, as well as your opponents. Most people don't understand themselves, nor do they understand their opponent, and that is why they constantly lose in life. The reality is, if you do not know yourself, you don't know anything. You're just a product of your environment. At the same time, if you do know yourself, but not your opponent, you will lose as often as you win, because the outcome is unpredictable. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. So learn to understand both yourself and the enemy. Who are you and what is it you want? Be honest with yourself about your limitations. What are your weaknesses and areas of improvement? By understanding your own limitations, you can develop strategies to overcome them and leverage your strengths to your advantage. Now, when it comes to your enemy, you must learn to understand him better than he understands himself. What is his main objective? What are his traits, his habits, and biases? Analyze everything. What angers him? And how does he act when he becomes emotional? Look for patterns that he himself does not even know about. Only after learning as much as possible about him will you start to see his strengths and weaknesses. And one of the most effective ways to defeat an enemy is to strike at their weakness. As Sun Tzu famously wrote, "In war, the way is to avoid what is strong and strike what is weak." Lesson 2. Attack with precision and strategy. Victory in war is not about the level of destruction you create. Instead, the goal of war is to take your enemy out as efficiently and effectively as possible. This requires strategy. The general who wins the battle makes many calculations in his tempo before the battle is fought. The general who loses makes but few. This means every battle is won long before it is fought. always calculate the risk of your actions and whether or not the risks outweigh the benefits of your actions. And be strategic and precise about your moves. But also make sure to never neglect the enemy's plan of action. Because in war, what is of supreme importance is to attack the enemy's strategy. Lesson 3. Adapt your plans and strategy. There is no such thing as a perfect plan, because circumstances can change. This means you should not get biased and stuck on one specific plan or strategy. Instead, one should adapt their strategy to the specific circumstances they face in order to maximize their chances of success. This means that it's important to stay flexible and open-minded in the face of changing circumstances and be willing to adjust your tactics accordingly when necessary. Remember, a master plan turns into a garbage plan when all the circumstances around it have changed, and not changing your plan in time will get you destroyed. Lesson 4. Avoid direct conflict. There are times where you must ruthlessly attack your opponent. For example, when he is taking his ease or is recovering, that is when you must give him no rest. However, sometimes it's better to win without fighting. This means you avoid conflict from taking place. This does not make you weak or scared. Even the strongest animal would avoid a battle that's not worth fighting. There are many reasons why you want to avoid direct conflict. It could be because your enemy is too strong to take on at the moment, or because you don't want to waste time, energy, and resources on a battle that can easily be avoided. Or maybe because you found a way to destroy the enemy without having to face him in direct battle. One of the tactics Sun Tzu recommends for achieving victory without direct conflict is the use of deception. By misdirecting your opponent or presenting false information, you can gain the upper hand and achieve your objectives without risking direct confrontation. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. There are many situations where it's best to avoid direct conflict, so always keep your main objective in mind before going to battle. Lesson 5. Emotions have no place in war. It is the unemotional, reserved, calm, detached warrior who wins, not the hothead seeking vengeance and not the ambitious seeker of fortune. There are two things I have always mentioned on this channel. One is the importance of emotional control. The second is the importance of detachment. Emotional control is important because emotions are a source of energy. When not controlled, they quickly become self-destructive. But controlled, they can be extremely powerful. However, when it comes to any kind of strategy, emotions simply have no place in it. You must never act out of emotions. Regardless of how strong your emotions may flow at the time, never snap. Instead, detach from your emotions and look at why you are feeling this way and how it can be used against you. You see, in any form of mind game, whether it's in business, war, or life in general, the point is to trigger emotion in the other person. The one who gets emotional loses the war. This is something that can also be used to your advantage. If you know your enemy is quick to anger, seek to irritate him. And if your enemy is quick to get big-headed, pretend to be weak, so he may grow in arrogance. These are powerful tactics to make your opponent act out of emotions and play into your hand. It can be used to catch him off guard. Thus, the expert in battle moves the enemy and is not moved by him. Lesson 6. Never get complacent. In the arena of conflict, there is no greater danger than complacency. There is a quote that goes, "Never scorn the weak cub. He may become the brutal tiger." The foe who is underestimated, who is viewed as a minor inconvenience, can become the greatest threat of all. And the overconfident warrior who fails to exercise forethought and does not consider the strength of his opponents will surely fall into their grasp. Lesson 7. Take advantage of chaos. In the midst of chaos, there is opportunity. Even in the darkest time of our life, we should find the ray of hope. We need to remain calm and keep a sharp eye around for any unnecessary changes. A good example of this is a crash in the market. While everyone is panicking, you must remain sharp and seize opportunities. It's the perfect time to strike and make the right investments. Lesson 8. Build strong relationships. Sun Tzu recognized the importance of building strong relationships with allies and potential allies. Most people pick friends based on nothing, just because they share some habits together, like playing video games or engaging in the same activities. Instead of trivial friendships, seek out those friends to whom you can turn in times of need, those who will stand by us through thick and thin. Honesty and integrity are essential to building trust and establishing strong relationships, meaning you stay real and even open up some of your weaknesses to others. Now, I understand it can be challenging to expose our vulnerabilities and weaknesses to others, fearing that it may expose our flaws or unworthiness. But in doing so, we open ourselves up to the strength, healing, and wisdom that comes from leaning on our friends. Listen, the art of making friends and influencing people is a valuable skill that we should all strive to master. And if you are fortunate enough to experience true friendship, you will know firsthand the unparalleled value and fulfillment that it brings. To be surrounded by friends and brothers that would go to war and back for you is truly powerful. Lastly, taking a real friend for granted is like ignoring a valuable investment until it loses all value. We may start to assume that our friends will always be there for us without realizing the time and effort they put into the relationship. It is crucial to acknowledge the value of our friendships and show appreciation for the people in our lives who support and uplift us. Imagine waking up every day caring about the opinions of others. Most guys put themselves in a mental prison, constantly worried about what people think of them. Pathetic. Everyone has an opinion. But how many of them have actually been beneficial to you? Most people don't even understand themselves, yet we tend to give too much weight to their perspectives. Do not misunderstand it. It's natural to care about the opinions of people you truly respect, and you should always care about what the people in your tribe think of you. But it's a waste of time to care about the opinion of random strangers, because most people don't really want to see you win. This sounds brutal, but most people that have an opinion of you don't care if you die today. People tend to give strangers tremendous power by caring about their opinions, and they will take these meaningless opinions to the grave with them, along with the dreams they never chased. While the best men know how to mute the noise, they know how to disregard opinions of strangers and don't give them any power. In this video, we will go over 8 powerful techniques that help you break free from the opinions of others. Number 1. Don't be afraid of confrontation. No one else will tell you this, but it's okay to disappoint people, and it's okay to make enemies. You could never please everyone, and you shouldn't bother trying. Listen, I share my message on this channel, and am brutally honest with men. If I was trying to please everyone, I could never get my message across. This channel would never be as big as it is if I was a cowardly people's pleaser. You see, I don't care about the opinion of some woke feminist or fapping bum that is hating on the FarFromWeak movement. I don't care about anyone who hates on this movement for that matter. They can all be my enemy, no problem, because a lion doesn't concern himself with the opinion of sheep. And the same applies for you. The number one way to stop caring about other people's opinion is to have a strong backbone. You need to be okay with disagreements and even confrontation. There are enough spineless cowards in the world already. So always stand up for yourself and for what you believe in. Number 2, choose wisely. You are limited in how much you can care about different things, so you must actively decide what you care about. If you care about the negative comment of some stranger, just know that you are choosing to care about irrelevant things instead of your goals. You will find many people on Instagram changing their profile pictures to go along with trends and the latest news. None of these people have a purpose or big goals going on in their life, because it's impossible to care about your own goals, the news, and the opinions of others all at the same time. Now, I will say most of the people that go along with trends on social media don't really care about the specific subject they post about. They actually only care about getting online validation, but that is still caring for meaningless garbage. Listen, we are all limited in how much we can care about different things. And if you care about irrelevant things, that means you stopped caring about relevant things. While if only caring about meaningful things, you are unable to care about meaningless things. You must actively decide what you care about. Choose what you invest your energy into. Number 3, learn to say no. Saying no is an effective way to safeguard your personal space, mental well-being, and to show how much you value your time. If you are not interested in doing something, or if it goes against your values, it's best to decline politely by saying no. Otherwise, people will continue to impose their will on you and use you for their own goals and objectives. Number 4, love yourself. Most people don't truly love themselves. That is why they are always seeking for companionship and a romantic relationship. They are trying to fill up a hole with a spouse, but don't realize that only they themselves can fill up that void. I understand that this may sound feminine or cringe to some people, and you may not be used to me talking about things like this on this channel, but self-love is absolutely crucial. Think about it. If you truly love yourself, you have no problem telling people no to their face. You'll have no problem being on your own or traveling to places by yourself. That is right. If you truly love yourself, you will not care about haters and their meaningless talk. There is great power in self-love. Number 5, surround yourself with like-minded people. It can be difficult to stop caring about outside opinions if you feel like you're all alone in the world. You will find more and more men being lone wolves in the modern day. But the reality is that men have always lived in tribes, and it's actually quite unnatural to be a lone wolf. Men need to cultivate a strong, supportive inner circle, a group of people that have your best interest at heart and share some of the same views on the world. It makes it so much easier to stop caring about another's garbage opinion when you have a strong inner circle that uplifts you. Building an inner circle of support requires effort and time, but the results are immeasurable. Start by reflecting on the people in your life. Analyze them and identify both the ones who support you and those who undermine you. Those that hinder you on your goals are rotten apples, and you should get rid of them, while you want to cultivate a closer relationship with those that truly support and uplift you. Being a lone wolf may sound cool, but having a brotherhood on your side makes you much more powerful. You see, when we feel supported, we're more likely to take risks and pursue our passions, leading to a more fulfilling and satisfying life. And by surrounding yourself with supportive men, you'll be less likely to feel a need to conform to societal standards and the opinions of others. Instead, you'll be more likely to live according to your own values and beliefs. Number 6, establish your own definition of success. Every individual has a unique calling in life, and therefore, success has different meanings to each person. Success may refer to accomplishing a goal, mastering a skill, or starting a family. Determine your own criteria for success and identify the viable means to achieve it. Once you have a clear objective, your focus will shift to achieving your goals, which leads to caring less about others' opinions. Number 7. Stop seeking permission. When you want to implement a decision concerning your life, don't ask the average person whether it's right or wrong. Trust yourself to make the best decisions about your life. Trust your instincts and your gut feeling. Turning to family or friends for justification about your choices can actually be more detrimental than helpful. By seeking approval from others, we are publicizing that we don't know what is right for ourselves. But what's even worse is the shift in power dynamics. You see, when you seek permission, you are handing people the power to stop you. People love to tell you no when you give them the option. They feel happy to exert authority over you. It is part of human nature. So do not seek permission and just go forward with full confidence. Number 8. You'll soon be dead. This may sound harsh, but we'll all die someday. So live your life while only caring about things that are worth caring about. Knowing that we are on the path leading to death may sound sad, but it's part of life. And it will make you realize you need to overcome fear of failure or embarrassment. Whenever you think about someone's negative opinion, make sure you remember you are gifted with life. Gifted with a body, mind, and spirit that can do anything. And understand, you will die someday. A garbage opinion should never make you waste your life and potential. Bad boys break all the rules and get girls with ease, while nice guys do everything to please a girl, only to get ignored, rejected, or put in the friend zone. You see, there is nothing more disgusting to a woman than a man that acts too nice. It comes across as insincere and weak. The nice guy will wait and wait for a chance to share the bed with a girl, but they don't know that she is too busy fantasizing and drooling over the bad boy type. If you want to get girls, you need to know when to stop being nice and what rules to break. In this video, we will discuss 9 rules that bad boys break all the time. Number 1. Asking for permission. In the modern world, you will find people saying you should always ask a girl for consent. They tell you to ask if you can touch or kiss them. It's wonderful advice if you are a nerd or a simp, but bad boys don't take this advice serious. They break the rules completely, and women love it. You see, the best men simply take what they want out of life. It doesn't matter if it's money, power, respect, or a girl. They set their eyes on the price and take it without asking for permission, like a beta male. Do not misunderstand it. I am not saying you should rob a bank or force a girl to come with you, but asking for permission isn't the way to go about it either. Bad boys know how to read the room. They take what they want, and if what they want is not an option, they leave and find it somewhere else. One way or another, they get what they want out of life because they don't ask or beg for it. This energy is wildly attractive to women because it displays dominance and self-assurance. Number 2. Hiding unusual traits. We all have some unique and unusual traits, but most guys hide it from females. They hide their authentic selves because they fear losing the girl. Pathetic. One should never apologize or feel ashamed for being yourself. A real man is himself whether people like it or not, even if he has an unusual trait like drawing, acting, or reading manga. It doesn't matter if girls look at you funny or don't understand what you're into. They will respect and love you for being yourself instead of acting like an NPC with zero personality. Now, this is not an excuse to scroll on TikTok, be a dork, or waste your time while being lazy. There is a big difference between having unique traits and being addicted to things like everyone else. Number 3. Zero tolerance. Nice guys will ignore red flags and bad behavior from women because they are extremely desperate. But the bad boy type does not tolerate bad behavior. In fact, he has zero tolerance for childish games and red flags. It doesn't matter how beautiful and attractive a woman is. She's still human, and not all humans are compatible with each other. If you start tolerating everything, even things that go against your morals and your virtues, you're going to mess things up. Sure, you may get the girl if you do this, but after the honeymoon period runs out, you're going to hate yourself for doing this. You'll be stuck with a woman that you despise. So don't be a simp and let her go as she blows her chance. Number 4. Putting women on a pedestal. A lot of modern men put women on a pedestal and treat her like a queen. The Disney movies have taught them that this is what they should do. However, she has 10, if not hundreds of guys that make her feel the same way. The truth is that women have an abundance of attention and affection thrown at her from every direction. You are not doing anything special by simping for her. Leave that to the other guys. The moment you start to treat her as a normal human being is when you're going to show yourself to be different from all the other guys. And if you want to take it a step further, put yourself on a pedestal instead of her. That is what the bad boy type of guys do. They value themselves over any girl. It may sound self-absorbed, and it probably is, but it's better to put yourself on a pedestal than to put another human being there. And it even attracts women because it displays high levels of self-confidence. Number 5. Playing it safe. 95% of men in the world don't take enough risks. They are taught to play it safe ever since their childhood. That is why you will see them being stuck in the rat race for decades. Even though their job makes them miserable, they have been so conditioned to play it safe that they'll rather live and die miserable than to take a risk. Not only do these men waste their potential, but it's also a big turnoff for women. There is nothing exciting about a man that's afraid to take a risk. A man that's afraid of losing is not only a coward, but he is also a boring man. Bad boys roll the dice. These men take risks in life and have the faith in themselves that if it doesn't go well, they will still be able to recover. They do what they want and don't think twice about it. Act first and ask questions later. Reckless? Perhaps, but it's impressive and attractive nonetheless. Number 6. Escape a boring reality. A bad boy offers a break from the expected, mundane, everyday life. The journey with a bad boy can offer the adventure and excitement that many women crave. They live life on the edge, offering some women an adrenaline rush. They do things that other people wouldn't do and are always looking for new ways to push the boundaries. Number 7. He's hard to get. Many women know what it's like to be desired and pursued by various men. It can be incredibly alluring when a woman finds someone who doesn't give her the time of day. Bad boys do just that. They don't play by the rules, and they're hard to pin down. Number 8. Passion. Bad boys do what they do with passion, which can be contagious. They seem to always have a burning reason for their actions or the way they live life. There's always an interesting story behind the man, which makes him even more desirable to some. They do what they want and don't think twice about it. Number 9. They got themselves. Bad boys need no maintenance. They take care of themselves, and they don't really want people to do things for them. For many women, this is a relief from the pressure of having to do everything in a relationship, especially women used to being in control of a partnership. A lot of women are used to bossing their man around. They tell them to stop playing video games and that they should get a job. But real men don't need a mommy to babysit them. They buy their own things and deal with their own problems without any complaints. Imagine being born as a man, the greatest gift on planet Earth, and just wasting that potential away. It's the most ungrateful thing a man could ever do. I will tell you 9 things a man should never do, but let me warn you. If you are a man-child, a beta male, or a simp, you will get triggered by this video. Number 1. Joking about your dreams and goals. Having a sense of humor is important, and we should all know when not to take ourselves too seriously. But there are some things you should never make jokes about. One of those things is your goals. If there's any big goal you have in life, don't joke about it. That is a coping mechanism because you are unsure of yourself, or because you try to make other people with mediocre minds feel comfortable around your big dreams. Listen to me. Never joke about your goals, and never let others make fun of your goals either. I remember when I was joking around with a friend about different things, but he got too comfortable and started to make a joke about my goals. The moment he did that, my demeanor changed instantly. I looked him dead in the eye and told him to never do that again. He apologized, and he never did. You see, if people don't support your goals and dreams, the bare minimum they should do is shut up. I don't care if it's your best friend or your family. What you want out of life is not something to laugh at. Respect yourself and your goals. Number 2, always surrounded by others. The reason why most guys waste their potential away is because they can't be alone. They are either surrounded by mediocre people or are always looking for a girlfriend to prevent them from being alone. Listen, as a man, you need to be able to go to places alone. You must know how to sit in your own solitude. Even if you are surrounded by great high-level people, you still need to go to places alone sometimes. It doesn't matter if it's going to the movies alone or going to a different country. Being in solitude gives you time to think, to meditate, and be with your own thoughts. Average-minded people will call you strange. They may even laugh at you, but it doesn't matter. The greatest asset you have is your own mind, and if you can't go to places by yourself and be at peace with your own mind, you have already lost. Number 3, always alone. This may sound contradictory to the previous point, but it isn't. You need to be able to find peace in solitude, but you also need to surround yourself with like-minded brothers. The idea of being a lone wolf is a fool's game, and I say this as someone that has been a lone wolf for most of his life. Men need brothers around them. It makes us better in every way. Most guys cope with reality. They call themselves Sigma because they lack the ability to network with others. These guys fail to understand that although it's necessary to be self-sufficient, it's also necessary to connect with other men. Solitude and brotherhood can perfectly coexist in peace. Listen to that again. Solitude and brotherhood can perfectly coexist in peace, and you need both to become the best version of yourself. If you are alone right now and have no brotherhood, I suggest you join our free Discord tribe in the description down below. It's a tribe of 40,000 men on self-improvement, always looking for ways to become better. Number 4. Listens to influencers. There is much information online, but you should never blindly listen to anyone. You will see guys like Andrew Tate say you shouldn't read books, and many fanboys follow that advice. They don't analyze themselves and see that they weren't born with a chess grandmaster as their father, and they don't have the life experience of someone like Tate. So how could you follow that advice? This was just an example, but it applies to any online advice. Always analyze yourself and your own life before seeing if the advice even applies to you. Because even if someone has good advice, if it doesn't apply to your life and circumstances, it becomes bad advice for you as an individual. Number 5. Feel guilty for being ambitious. There's a lot of people that feel guilty for having big goals. The reason for this is because their family and friends never achieved anything big. In fact, no one around them has achieved anything. That's why they constantly cope with reality. They say things like, money is the root of all evil, or rich people are greedy. It's very hard to be ambitious if everyone around you is saying garbage like this to cope with reality. But at the same time, you must not let it get your spirit down. Just make sure you don't discuss your goals with these types of people, because they are not like-minded. You can still love them, but protect yourself from their limiting beliefs. Number 6. Excessive emotional attachment. Everyone feels some sort of attachment to people, things, or places. After all, if you have something good in your life, it makes sense that you feel resistant to losing that person or thing. But the dark reality is that you are going to lose people in your life. It can be your mother, your father, or your best friend. And it can happen when you least expect it. I'm not saying this to make this video dark or have you become worried. Rather, I'm saying this to prepare you mentally. The worst pain is seeing the person you made memories with turn into a memory. And yet, you must be prepared to take that pain, because we will all experience it sooner or later. You can't be so emotionally attached that losing someone destroys your entire life. I've seen many guys that lost someone, and they haven't recovered from it ever since. I'm talking about guys full of potential that were just destroyed for years. You must be prepared for what's about to come. Will it still hurt no matter how well prepared you are? Of course it will. You're human, and it's a person you love. But being hurt and being destroyed are two different things. Death comes for us all. Always remember that. Number 7. Simp. Deep down, every man knows he should not simp, and yet most guys still simp for girls. The moment a beautiful woman walks into the room, their entire demeanor changes. You will see their eyes change, and they become desperate. Sometimes I think being a simp runs in their blood, because no matter how well guys understand they should not simp, they still double text girls like a worm. Listen, simping may seem funny, but it's actually a very serious lack of respect you have for yourself, and there is nothing funny about lacking self-respect. On top of that, a simp can't be trusted. They are the type of guys that will hook up with the ex of their own friends. Number 8. Letting yourself get bullied. When most people hear bullying, they think of school. But the reality is that bullying happens at all ages and in thousands of different ways. It can be constant passive-aggressive comments made by a family member or someone you work with that's embarrassing you in front of other colleagues. Maybe a friend that jokes about you in front of girls to make himself look good. Whatever it is, recognize that they are trying to bully you and step up to it. You absolutely have to embrace confrontation if you want bullying to end. And here's the beautiful thing about stepping up to bullies. You're not getting into 100 fights or even 10 fights. No, if you do it correctly, you only have to do it once. However, if you allow bullying to take place, you are going to get terrorized more than 100 times. So embrace the confrontation, and you'll get the reputation as someone that doesn't back down. Number 9, talk too much. When you come across a successful person, do not talk too much. Ask. Most guys try to impress others. They don't know their place on the chessboard. It is all ego, and it keeps them away from learning things. If you come across a successful man, be respectful and ask questions. Why? When you ask and listen more, you not only learn a lot, but the other person is going to walk away finding you interesting. You see, most successful people come across nobodies that talk a lot. They instantly write them off in their head. But when they meet someone that's respectful and willing to listen and learn, it leaves a good impression. Imagine obsessing over a girl that does not want you. That is what most guys do. The moment a girl is acting friendly, they're like a dog chasing a bone. Have you no pride? Just because a girl acts nice does not mean she wants you. Nothing is more embarrassing than chasing a girl that secretly finds you annoying. I remember when I made this mistake myself. I used to be emotionally invested in girls that were not interested in me. In fact, they actually wanted to get away from me, but I held on for dear life. I was pathetic. Looking back at it, the signs were so clear that she wasn't into me, that she wasn't interested. She probably laughed with her friends, and rightfully so. When you don't respect yourself, you deserve to get treated like a clown. But at the same time, I don't want you to get hurt or treated like a joke. That's why we will go over 10 signs she's not into you. It might hurt your feelings, but the pain that you'll experience from watching this video until the end will save you from getting hurt by women later. Number 1, you're texting more than her. Girls talk a lot. They can barely shut up. Let me say that again. They can barely shut up. And for a man to talk or text more than a girl, it's not only extremely feminine, but it also shows you're very low on her list. If you're investing more into the conversation than the girl, then she doesn't like you as much as you like her. Did you really think you are the only guy she is speaking to? You fool. She considers you her third or fourth option, probably even lower than that. One thing is for sure, you are far from her number 1 option if you're doing the majority of the texting. You see, women tend to text paragraphs to the men they really want. They're dying to reveal their heart, soul, and mind to the man they envision themselves with. So if her replies are short, cold, one-worded, or brief answers, she's likely not that into you. Number 2, talks about other men. Whether she's talking about celebrities or her ex, it's all the same. It's disgusting, and it shows she's not into you. Just block her number and forget about her. This one is for the streets. Number 3, pretending. We all know girls lie when they are not interested in someone. They will pretend to have a boyfriend or pretend to have fallen asleep when you last texted them. Pretending is the first thing girls fall back on instead of just rejecting you, because women are not as straightforward as men. Listen, there is a reason why there is no saying about being a woman of your word, because lies can be a female's best friend. And if a woman is not interested in you, she will simply pretend to be occupied. She will tell you things like, "I'll let you know," or "I'll have to check my calendar." Do not misunderstand it. I'm not saying a girl can never be busy with things going on in her life, but the moment a high-value man texts her, that whole calendar goes in the trash can. She will not display any form of flakiness for an alpha male. He decides what they're going to do, and she likes it that way. Number 4, doesn't ask you personal questions. Mystery is an essential element to attraction, especially for women. If a woman isn't mystified and curious about you as a man, odds are basically zero that she's going to be interested in you. Most guys think they are having a conversation with a girl, but they are actually just talking to themselves. You see, if a girl doesn't ask you any questions other than lame replies like, "What about you?" she's simply not interested in you. Why? A girl that is interested in a man wants to know everything about him. She'll check out his social media pages or have her girlfriends find out information about him. And when she's on a date with him, she will ask him personal questions to find out more about him. Number 5, flakiness. Does she say yes to plans and then cancel on them later? If it happens once, it may be legitimate. Life happens after all. However, did she apologize and put real effort into rescheduling? If not, she canceled on purpose. Because an uninterested woman will be apathetic and unconcerned by wasting your time. Number 6, she's on her phone around you. If you're with a girl and she's constantly distracted by her phone, she lacks interest and respect for you. Do you actually think she's doing important stuff on her phone? Do you think she's some kind of businesswoman? She is simply looking at other people on social media or texting with someone else. The best thing to do is to calmly get up and leave as she's distracted. Number 7, she wants to meet halfway for the date. If a woman doesn't want to meet up because you won't meet her halfway, geographically speaking, then she's probably not that interested in you. Here's the thing. Women have a lot of choices when it comes to picking men, and they always decide who their best option is. If you're not her number one option, she's going to carefully calculate how much she's willing to invest into the meetup, and she won't be willing to put too many resources at risk. This stands in stark contrast to how she thinks about her number one guy. She would travel to a different country to meet the high-value man of her dreams. If she's not willing to go the distance to see you, or seems to be really careful about how she spends her resources, rest assured that you're not her number one guy, and you may be wasting your time on a woman who doesn't really like you as much as you like her. Number 8, she never wants to be alone with you. If she is constantly trying to get friends involved when you're trying to do something together, you should probably forget about her. Delete her number and keep it moving, because women are very good at getting alone with the men they truly want. Number 9, not excited when you ask her out. If a lady desires you and wants to go out with you, she'll definitely seem excited when you finally make your move. By contrast, if she stalls, seems unsure of whether to say yes or no, or just otherwise doesn't seem very happy about it, you may want to rethink your decision. Listen, for women, Getting axed out by the guy they want is a happy, exciting moment that fills them with the thrill of possibility and romance. So if she seems unsure or hesitantly says yes without seeming too excited about it, odds are good that she's not saying yes for the right reason. She may just be using you for your money, or she isn't sure how to let you down. So she's biding her time and just going along with it for now. In either case, it typically doesn't end well for the man. Number 10. Personal space. Women love to be touched by men they're attracted to. By contrast, they tend to get grossed out by a romantic physical touch from the man they're not interested in. It makes them want to throw up. Listen. If a woman doesn't allow you to invade her personal space, she's not that into you. Think about it. We all have an unspoken invisible barrier. When you don't like someone that much, you don't want them in your personal space, because a barrier that's being crossed by someone can make you feel uncomfortable or even disrespected. Now, if a woman really likes you, she doesn't mind you invading that space. If you notice her pulling back as you come closer to her, chances are she's not interested in you. It doesn't matter if she is smiling or acting friendly at that point, because her actions have already said more than her smile. When a woman likes you, she doesn't mind when you invade her personal space. It actually excites them. Have you ever been ignored by a woman you liked? Women love to ghost men, leaving them confused and hurt, wondering what they've done wrong. But what if I told you you can turn the tables and use that rejection to your advantage? You see, women ignore men based on calculations. Once the math in their head tells them you're a low-value man, you're as good as dead to them, and they'll look for someone better. The key is to prove those calculations wrong, and once she realizes her math was off, you crush her ego. By destroying her ego, you can make her crawl back to you, desperate for your attention. We will go over 6 things that make her regret ignoring you. Number 1. Act like she doesn't exist. When a woman ignores you, you simply act like she doesn't exist. You will find people saying you should ask her what's wrong or if she would like to talk. They will tell you to be extra kind to her. It's all garbage and it doesn't work. Don't ever ask why she is ignoring you. You're already a low-tier man in her mind, and desperately trying to talk to her will only make you appear like a needy man without dignity. I'm probably the only one that will say this, but when a woman ignores you, she has actively disrespected your existence. And the last thing you should do is run back to her like a little lapdog, because neediness is the fastest way to kill a woman's attraction. Instead, simply act like she does not exist. But the key here is to not force it or get mad. You are not a little girl playing mind games. Be very nonchalant about how you ignore her back and go about your business. This lets her know you don't put her on a pedestal and you have better things to do than to simp for her. Number 2, don't react emotionally. She may ignore you because she has lost interest in you, but she can also ignore you to test your character. Whatever her reason is, you must remain stoic and unfazed. You are the one that can give her silence power, but you are also the one that can make her silence powerless. Number 3, grind. As a man, you should be on the grind whether a woman ignores you or not, always aiming to become exceptional. But when a woman ignores you, it's even more reason to put your head down and work, because the reality of the matter is, she would not have ignored a better version of you. So keep improving, physically, mentally, but also financially. You see, she expects a low-tier man to chase her and to keep sending her messages. But if he doesn't seem to care about her at all, she will question her own decision, and even more so if he actually makes good money. So make sure to expand your finances. Videos on the best ways to make money online will be made soon. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss them. Number 4. You are boring. There's a saying, girls just like to have fun. And it's true. Girls ignore boring guys all the time. Don't get me wrong, striving to become the best version of yourself is very important. But it's no excuse to be a boring rat, and neither is being an introvert. You see, no matter the money you make, how strong you are, and how successful you are in your endeavors, if you can't make her laugh or do fun things together, you are simply not interesting. That is why she may ignore you and go out with some fat guy that knows how to have fun. Sure, you may be in better shape than him, and you may earn more money than him too, but are you fun to be around? Listen, being an exciting man is a skill, and I would say most guys do possess this skill to some extent. It's mostly the guys that are strictly on self-improvement or making money that fail to recognize the importance of being interesting. Don't let self-improvement turn you into a dork. Number 5. You gave her too much power. Girls will always test guys to see how much she can get away with and see how much power she can gain over him. For example, she might throw tantrums, treat him badly, be less affectionate, ignore him, tease him, demand that he do things for her, etc. If you put up with the bad treatment because you're afraid of losing her, the power will gradually shift to her and she will lose respect for you. That is not the position you ever want to be in with a woman. The position that you want to be in, and that women actually want you to be in, is where you love and respect her, but you remain in the position of power. To achieve that, you need to maintain belief in yourself and understand the power dynamics between a man and a woman. If she gets out of line, you need to let her know that you are disappointed in her and expect better from her from now on. You need to be lighthearted and easygoing when you tell her that, but you also need to be assertive at the same time. If she continues to make the same types of mistakes, it should be you that stops giving her attention. That is actually what women want a man to do. A woman hates it when a man puts up with her bad behavior because he is afraid of losing her. Number 6. Focus on your purpose. A man without a purpose will make trivial things around him big. He will worry about irrelevant things and worry about meaningless garbage. But a man with a purpose remains unshakable when a woman ignores him. He doesn't have time to waste on worrying about what another human is doing, male or female. When your goals have priority over a woman, this will not only humble her, it will also destroy her ego, because her ignoring you instantly becomes meaningless. In fact, anything she does will not affect you anymore. So get on your purpose. Now, if you don't know what your purpose is yet, that's understandable. I will tell you how to find your purpose. I'm going a little bit off topic here, but this is very important. I saved this for the last part of the video, so all the short attention span people have left by now. Listen, in order to find your purpose, you must remove all distractions in your life and be alone with your thoughts. Think about what is most important to you and what you would like to achieve. It could be anything. Think of becoming rich, becoming a UFC champion, mastering a skill, or impacting people. The possibilities are endless, and you need to think about what your deep desire is. Once you figure that out, it's time to test the validity of it. You need to find out if that desire is real. You see, most goals that pop up are not real. Those are not your purpose. They are merely goals, dreams, and desires that someone else has told you about. In order to test if your purpose is real, you should ask why. For example, let's say your purpose is to become a multimillionaire. The first question should be, why? Your answer may be because you want freedom. Follow up with another why. Someone with a real purpose, a real deep desire can keep doing this at least 10 times. He can keep digging deeper and deeper with the question, why? And has an answer to every one of those whys. But someone that merely saw his dream life on social media or heard it from someone else will not be able to keep answering the whys. With this exercise, you will quickly find out if it's a real burning desire or not. So test it. Keep asking yourself why you want something at least 10 times, and see if you're able to keep having answers. This is how you discover what your true purpose is. Your communication skills are lacking. You may think you speak very well, but you actually don't. And the moment you need to articulate your thoughts clearly, you would see how limited you truly are. Listen, there are 3 types of people in this world: the arrogant, the fool, and the student. The arrogant thinks he's great at communicating without ever improving this skill. The fool underestimates the power of communication and influence and dismisses the importance of it. But the student is humble enough to accept he should improve. He knows he isn't born with elite communication skills, and he doesn't dismiss the importance to cope with his lack of skill. Instead, he is eager to get better. And out of the 3, this is the one that becomes the most successful in life. You see, communication is everything in the modern world. Your ability to communicate greatly dictates your success, even if you don't have any other skill to back it up, because high-level communication is essential for influence. It can get people to understand you, respect you, and follow you to the ends of the earth. You can't be a leader without it. If you have the student mindset, it's time to become a powerful orator, and I'm here to help you. The truth is, I used to suck at communication. I struggled forming clear sentences and making genuine connections with others. And because I was bad at it, I acted as if it wasn't important. My actions are more important than my way of communicating. That's what I convinced myself of to cope with reality. I was a fool. Until I grew older and started to see how effective communication is. That's when I realized power is nothing unless you can turn it into influence. Finally, I began working on my communication skills, and it improved my life and leadership abilities in many ways. But I still wanted to test how much influence can be gained from just communication. So I started this YouTube channel to see if communication is truly as powerful as I thought it was. And as you can see, the channel blew up because people understand what I'm saying and connect with the message, even without me ever showing my face or physical presence. Listen, if you just communicate, you can't get by. But if you communicate skillfully, you can work miracles. I will lay out 5 brutally honest ways to elevate your communication game. But there will be a 6th bonus point at the end of the video, which will teach you how to develop your own witty and charismatic style of speaking. So make sure you watch this video until the very end. Number 1. Think before you speak. We see so many people just rambling their thoughts as if they were having a conversation with themselves. They don't pay attention to what they say because they feel the social pressure to speak quickly without thought. It's not because they have a great answer, but because the pressure is forcing them to respond fast. Now, this pressure isn't real, but they make it real in their own heads. They feel the need to answer in time. This happens all the time, even in conversations of low importance, like when the barber asks you something while you're getting a haircut. Just because someone asks you something doesn't mean you must give an answer right away. Think, is it really valuable what I'm talking about, or do I come off as a dork that's wasting people's time and attention? That's right, you look like a dork. To avoid that from happening, think before you speak. That brief pause makes all the difference in the world between a successful conversation and a disastrous one. That brief pause can stop you from saying some of the most regrettable things you've ever said. And here's the secret. The more often you pause before you speak, the shorter those pauses become over time, because you are training yourself to think faster under pressure. In the beginning, you may need longer pauses to formulate a well-thought-out response, and it may even feel awkward to do at first. But before you know it, you'll be able to deliver well-thought-out answers with ease, because your thought process now operates on a much faster level than other people. This is why you will see some men, whether it's in a debate or a podcast, that are able to deliver impactful responses effortlessly. And it's not because they have memorized their lines or are extremely talented. No, these type of men are simply so used to thinking before they speak that their brain is used to processing thoughts and answers at a much quicker rate. So think before you speak. That's where it all starts. Number 2, choose your words. Words carry weight, so you must pick your words carefully. Always consider how they might be received by the other person. Not just about what the content of the words you're saying are, but how that person would receive it. You see, the words you pick combined with the tone you use to say those words can make a night and day difference of how it gets received. Something you say with good intentions can be perceived as disrespectful or hostile merely because of the wrong choice of words and tonality. You must be tactful as well as respectful of other people's feelings. Do not misunderstand it. I'm not telling you to become a little snowflake or use indirect communication like women do. However, you should always consider whether you're about to say something necessary, relevant, and appropriate for the situation. If it's not, bite your tongue and save your thoughts for something more suitable. Remember, to become articulate is to become the master of your own tongue. Number 3, be a good listener. Shut up and listen. That's right. One of the most important ways to become better at communicating and gain influence is by being a good listener. Why? Everyone likes to talk about themselves, and when you allow them to share things they love or enjoy talking about, they'll associate those good feelings with you. Most people don't know this, but listening is actually the winning formula for influencing people. And it sounds easy, right? Well, it isn't. Being a good listener takes just as much skill as it takes to become a good speaker. I'm going to give you a few tips to become a great listener, and this can change your life, so pay attention. We'll start with the most obvious. Don't interrupt. Being interrupted is frustrating for the other person, as it gives the impression that you think you're more important, or that you don't have time for what they have to say. If you're naturally a quicker thinker or speaker, force yourself to slow down so that the other person can express themselves. Remember, A pause or a few seconds of silence doesn't mean that you have to jump in. Letting the other person speak will make it easier for you to understand their message as well. Secondly, listening to nonverbal cues, facial expressions, tone of voice, and gestures can tell you just as much as what is being said in words. Pay attention to what the other person is saying with their body language. Next, listen without judging or jumping to conclusions. If you start reacting emotionally to what's being said, then it can get in the way of listening to what is said next. Try to focus on listening. Equally, don't try to predict what the other person is going to say, and don't plan a response, because you can't listen and prepare at the same time. Lastly, don't impose your opinions or solutions. We all have an ego, and most people prefer to come to their own solutions. It's better to ask questions or give suggestions than to bluntly tell someone what to do. Obviously, there is more to the art of listening, like your body language, making eye contact, and nodding your head to encourage the other person to keep talking. But with the tips I just gave, you can drastically improve your communication skills and influence. Now, let's get back to becoming a great orator. Number 4, speak concisely. Most people talk a lot without saying anything. They don't know how to get to the point. Listen, it's important to know how to get to the point with as few words as possible. A concise and direct approach to communication is highly valued because it shows respect for the listener's time and attention. And your speech becomes 10 times more powerful if you know how to get to the point with as few words as possible. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you need to explain things thoroughly and add a lot of details, but the same rule still applies. Leave out any information that is irrelevant and craft your words carefully. Don't use 10 words when you can convey your point with 2 or 3. You see, people tend to tune out when they feel like someone's wasting their time or not providing valuable information. Because you come across as indecisive and uncertain if your speech is filled with garbage filler words, or when you start to repeat yourself. You must stop saying and using like and you know and other fillers. To speak concisely, you must always remember your message will be boring and forgotten if you use too many filler words or repeat yourself, while it will be remembered and understood if you keep it concise and straight to the point. So, stick to the point, keep your focus on the main topic, and resist the urge to digress or share unrelated anecdotes. If you find yourself veering off course, pause, regroup, and redirect your thoughts before you continue speaking. Number 5, practice. I've given you all the information you need to communicate properly, but now we're going to get into how to practice and become a monster at communication. Your practice comes down to 2 simple things: input and output. We will first start with input, and that is reading. One of the best ways to become more articulate is by reading books. Reading books expands your vocabulary, and using a variety of words makes your conversations more flexible and dynamic. A strong vocabulary provides speakers with the ability to create compelling and thoughtful sentences. So find books on topics you want to get better at, whether it's books on self-improvement, making money, or even fictional books. Even if it's just 15 minutes a day, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you read, as it not only makes you smarter, but it also improves your vocabulary. And if you read a word you don't understand, make sure you look up the meaning of that word. Now, the second part of practice is output. Start writing. Putting your thoughts on paper will improve your ability to articulate your thoughts because you are training yourself to play around with words. You can write about anything. You could journal about your goals and dream life or other thoughts that are on your mind. There are a million different things you could write about. Once again, even if it's just 15 minutes a day, or even every 2 or 3 days, it will carry over into your speaking abilities to write more. Now, let's get into how to develop your own unique and charismatic style of speaking. Number 6. Copy and combine. It's time to expose the secret of developing a great style of your own. Start copying great speakers. Most people will misunderstand and say they don't want to be a copycat. Listen, humans learn by copying. When you were a baby, you learned by copying your parents. Then you went to school and started to copy your teachers and peers. And even now, you continue to learn by copying those around you. Copying is only a problem when you copy from just one person. When you copy from dozens of different people and mix it up and give your own style to it, that's called innovation. That's why you need to turn into a copycat ninja. Think of it like creating the ultimate warrior. You need to copy different styles and blend them together to create something that is effective and powerful. A prime example of this is MMA. It is a sport where it's completely normal to copy different martial arts and blend them all together. So, how can we use this to improve our communication? Copy the great speakers you know, but don't just copy one, because that will turn you into a lesser version of that person, and you will be seen as fake. Instead, let's say you take what you think is useful from me. You take a little bit from Jordan Peterson, and a little bit of Joe Rogan and some Andrew Tate. Maybe you know some other great speakers and you add them in there too, along with all the other people you've learned from in your life. Mix all those styles together and give your own touch to it, and you'll end up with a whole new style of speech that is unique to you. This is how you'll be able to master the dance of your tongue and be able to articulate with finesse that has never been seen before. That's it. We've discussed some of the most important aspects of communication. There's more I could say on the use of your voice, intonations, body language, and pronunciation, but that would make this video way too long. Let me know if you watched until the end and if it was useful to you. Every man should know if he has good testosterone. It is your life force. Most guys are so used to low testosterone, feeling depressed and having low energy has become normal for them. They got accustomed to having the testosterone of a little worm. Pathetic. This video will tell you if you have low or high testosterone, and you won't even need to do blood work for this. We will go over 9 symptoms of low testosterone. Number 1. Morning wood. One of the best indicators of testosterone is your morning wood. If you have low morning wood, let's say once a week, it's very likely you have low testosterone. At the same time, if your testosterone levels are sky high, you will always have morning wood. With high testosterone, your erections can become so strong it even wakes you up at night. Number 2. Low ambition and aggression. High testosterone males are very ambitious and have an aggressive edge. This is what allows them to crush obstacles and achieve big success. The modern world may have fooled you into believing aggression is a bad thing, just like how they shame all other masculine traits. Listen, it's true that high testosterone makes men aggressive, but aggression is not a negative trait. In fact, controlled aggression is one of the best traits a man could ever have. It gets things done fast, and it helps you attack problems tenaciously. If you are low in ambition and aggression, it's very likely your testosterone levels are low. Number 3. Low energy. Testosterone and energy are directly linked. If you have low energy and are sluggish all the time, you likely have low testosterone. I am talking about if you sleep well and eat enough but still feel tired. Chronic fatigue is one of the best indicators for low testosterone. This is the whole reason why people want to increase their testosterone in the first place. Sure, the extra muscle mass is nice, but the primary reason is because they lack energy in their day-to-day life. Because without energy, you can't do anything. Number 4, belly fat. If you eat decent and are pretty active, but still accumulating fat around your midsection, you very likely have low testosterone. Why? Testosterone has a very powerful effect on your ability to lose fat. It helps increase the adrenaline receptors on your fat cells, meaning it helps break down fat and turn it into energy. That is why a man with low testosterone will have increased body fat, while the man with high testosterone is like a fat-burning machine. You will not see sloppy body belly fat on a man that has sky-high testosterone levels naturally. Number 5, mood. Your brain has many cells that are testosterone receptors. The low level of testosterone your brain receives affects your mood. If you always feel depressed, miserable, or anxious, and there's no explanation for your crummy mood, it's likely because of low testosterone. Studies have shown that men with depression have low testosterone. The opposite is true for high testosterone. If you always feel strong-willed, determined, amped up, and with high confidence, it can be an indicator of high testosterone. It's very hard to feel like trash while being full of life force and power. People often don't like to hear this, and they rather grab a bunch of pills instead of trying to find out if you have low testosterone and poor lifestyle habits. Number 6, memory loss. Testosterone has a heavy impact on brain functionality, and one of the areas that are most heavily affected in our brain from having low testosterone is our memory. You see, research has shown that people with low testosterone are more prone to dementia compared to men with mid-range levels of testosterone. If you find it difficult to concentrate and perform basic tasks at work, or you're finding it hard to remember where you put your pen, or even the name of people you meet, it can be an indication of low testosterone. Because people with low testosterone will often suffer from brain fog, while healthy testosterone levels will keep your brain sharp as a blade. However, it could also mean your brains are just fried from all the quick and easy dopamine in the modern world, and you may need a dopamine detox. Either way, cognitive decline is never a good thing. Whether it's because of low testosterone or overstimulation, or maybe even a combination of both, it should not be ignored. Number 7, laziness. If you are feeling lazier than normal, it could be a sign of low testosterone. You may find that you don't want to do things that you used to enjoy, or that you have less energy for activities. Testosterone plays a role in regulating motivation, so when levels are low, you will feel like a lazy bum. Number 8, insomnia. Low testosterone can cause insomnia. You may find it difficult to fall asleep or stay asleep. You see, testosterone plays a role in regulating sleep, so when levels are low, insomnia can occur. At the same time, sleep is essential for building your testosterone. This means you can end up trapped in a loop of low testosterone here, a cycle where low testosterone causes sleep problems, while poor sleep causes lower testosterone. Now, for most people, the reason for their poor sleep is not because of low testosterone. The reason is because of their phone. To be more specific, because of blue lights and overstimulation. However, even though their initial reason for poor sleep was not low testosterone, the result of poor sleep will end up in low testosterone. Think about your sleep. Do you sleep well most days of the week, or do you struggle getting quality sleep? For most people that have poor sleep, it's not because of low testosterone, but rather because of their phone. To be more specific again, because of blue lights and overstimulation. Number 9, feeling weak. It's no secret that testosterone plays a huge role in the growth of muscle tissue. So if you feel weak for no reason, or even start losing muscle mass despite going to the gym, it's likely you have low testosterone. Men with high testosterone pack on muscle and strength quick, and their muscles feel fuller compared to someone with low testosterone. I'm curious to know if you have any of the 9 symptoms. Let me know in the comment section down below. And always remember, testosterone is extremely important, but there is a lot of garbage information online. If you look up information about high testosterone, you will come across a lot of sources claiming natural high testosterone is dangerous for men. It's clear they don't want men walking around with high testosterone. This is why I will share the real information on this topic to help you get sky-high levels of testosterone. Most guys have no control over their life and are addicted to bad habits. They fap, play video games, smoke weed, or scroll on social media like a brain-dead zombie. Pathetic. You will not be young forever. There will come a day where your life force is diminishing, and when death comes for you, you will either look back at your life proudly or with shame and regret. I know I'm sounding harsh, but I used to be the guy that didn't have any control over his life. Looking back at it, I had all the bad habits you can think of. But it all changed when I realized my mind was being controlled by a lizard. So I tamed the lizard and regained control of my life. You may think I'm joking, but I am serious. There is a slimy lizard inside your head that makes you addicted to bad habits, and he keeps you far away from your potential. It's not a physical lizard walking around in your brain, but rather a part of your brain that is called the reptilian brain, otherwise known as amygdala. That's right, we all have something called a lizard brain. It is a little part of your brain that chases your most primal desires, and it makes us move without intention. Often, that part of our brain is useful, like when you follow an automatic routine such as driving. Have you ever driven somewhere while being in a conversation or being distracted, and you arrive at your destination without any memory of how you got there? That is because the reptilian brain was doing most of the driving. At the same time, all forms of addictions come from the lizard brain. You see, anything in a modern world that is addictive has someone behind the scenes who's aware of your lizard brain and is taking advantage of you. They are making you tap into autopilot mode, and like a zombie, you start engaging in bad habits, wasting your potential away. But no more. I will teach you how to tame the lizard brain and take control of your life. Number 1, understand the lizard. Most people don't have any control over their lizard brain. In fact, not many people even know about it at all, and that is why they are constantly failing. I need you to listen very carefully, because this will give you an advantage over 99% of people. Before you can tame your lizard brain, you need to understand its purpose. Our lizard brain has always had one single purpose: to keep us alive by alerting us to perceived threats and danger. Back in prehistoric times, the lizard brain reacted to a threat in an immediate and automatic way. I'm talking about primal instincts here, like fear. When there was even the slightest hint of danger, the lizard brain took over. This was a good thing. When a predator was pouncing, there was no time to process information. In this way, the lizard brain allowed us to survive. But the key point here is that the lizard brain only has 2 modes: safe or unsafe. When it perceives safe, it allows the rest of the brain to run the show. When it perceives unsafe, it activates an automatic response, like fight, flight, or freeze. This becomes a problem in the modern world. We are no longer in a prehistoric world where predators are hunting us for food. But our caveman survival instinct hasn't evolved, and now it's gotten the message twisted. Not only that, but your lizard brain is stubborn and overly risk-adverse. It exaggerates every threat to seem much bigger than it actually is. This kept us alive back in prehistoric times, but today it's limiting our personal growth, happiness, and higher goal achievement. In other words, the side effect of keeping you safe is that your lizard brain will also talk you out of your dreams. Anytime you try something new or different, such as going after a new career, your lizard brain survival mode interprets movement towards that goal as warning, warning, perceived threat, danger imminent. The lizard brain will then launch into a campaign to get you back into your comfort zone. It hates change, risk, or even perceived risks. This is why you freeze up like a deer caught in the headlights when the very thought of going after your dream role crosses your mind. At a primal level, animals freeze so their predator cannot detect movement. So your lizard brain's instant reaction is, stay still and stay safe. Movement will get you killed. Those thoughts like, don't do it, you'll lose all your money. Or, you can't do that because you're too inexperienced, too old, you don't have what it takes. Those are all the voices of the lizard. It is an expert at procrastination, self-sabotage, rationalization, excuses, and obsession over needing to know the how before proceeding. And the closer you get to going after your dream, the louder the lizard brain sounds the alarm. The lizard brain has no concept of soul-sucking jobs versus dream careers. It will always seek out familiarity because familiarity feels safe. And like I said, the lizard brain only has two options, safe or unsafe. It cannot compute the gray area in between. Now that you understand the lizard brain, it's time to tame it. Number 2, tame the lizard. Your lizard brain will never support your self-improvement, self-actualization, happiness, or achievement of higher goals. That will be up to the evolved you and your willingness to activate your frontal lobe, your rational thinking brain. You have the power to override the lizard brain with your neocortex, if you so should choose. Listen. Your lizard brain and your neocortex are like two wolves fighting each other. One wolf represents comfort and leisure, while the other wolf represents improvement and ambition. The wolf you feed is the wolf that will win. So feed your neocortex and starve your lizard brain. The way you do this is by first spotting the lizard. Awareness is the first step. Identify when your lizard brain is speaking. The second step is to talk to your lizard. Once you are aware the lizard is speaking to you, talk back. Personally, I laugh at the inner lizard voice. I call him weak. And whenever he starts to convince me to quit, I tell him to watch closely as I do the exact opposite of what he wants me to do. Step 3 is to simply take action. Act now, think later. The best way to silence the lizard is to act. Once you've seen this video, you have no more excuses to be pathetic. Recognize that all the excuses and bad habits come from the lizard brain. So tame it. Any man can reach the top 1%. But it takes the right scientific daily routine to get there. You see, the human body is an incredible machine capable of amazing performance. But just like any other machine, it needs regular maintenance and care to operate at its peak. Most guys are all talk. They say they want to be successful, but trash their human body and mind with bad habits. That is the reason why they stay unexceptional, insignificant, and above all, pathetic. One should never underestimate the importance of a daily routine when it comes to success. The scientific routine I'm about to share with you is extremely powerful. It will transform your mind, body, and spirit into a machine that operates at peak performance, giving you the energy, focus, and productivity you need to crush your goals. But I have to warn you, this isn't for the weak. It only works if you have the guts to commit to it. It is all or nothing. So, let's get started. Step 1. Wake up early. If you want to get ahead in life, you need to start the day right. And that means waking up early and ready to attack the day. I already know people are going to make excuses when I say this, because they want to stay in their bed, nice, warm, and comfortable, like a little baby. But if you are not a little baby, you should wake up early. Why? Waking up early sets the tone for your day. It gives you a sense of control and purpose, and helps you start your day with a positive attitude. Early risers are more proactive, more productive, and more likely to make better decisions throughout the day. The best men in the world wake up early and go on the attack like a man possessed. These men know that laying in bed is overrated. They leave it to the worms that lack ambition and don't mind wasting their potential away. Do not misunderstand it. Not everyone needs to wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. in order to be productive, but no one ever achieved anything while stinking in their bed. So at least wake up and rise with the sun. Step 2. Fasting. A hungry beast is a dangerous beast because its instincts are heightened and its senses are sharp. The same applies to humans. Hunger is a superpower, and in the modern world, we don't use it. In fact, people tend to do the exact opposite. They stuff their belly full before even achieving anything. There is a quote that goes, "A full belly is the mother of all evil." I'm not sure if it's the mother of all evil, but I do know a full belly always results in the same thing: laziness and poor performance. I advise any man to fast until they deserve to eat. This may sound extreme if you are used to being a spoiled baby, but for those that want to reach the top, hunger is a superpower that must be employed. So use that hunger to work on your goals. At least get some important work done before eating. This could mean reading a book and doing some push-ups before eating. But it could also mean you finish a deep work session of 2 hours and a gym session before you break your fast. When you consume nothing but water or some coffee and use all your hunger to get results, you will be shocked at how powerful hunger truly is and how much more productive and efficient you are when your body is not busy digesting food. Step 3. Blood flow. In order for your brain to work optimally, your blood needs to keep flowing. So move. It doesn't matter if it's doing martial arts, going for a bike ride, or just going for a brisk walk outside. Just make sure you move multiple times throughout your day. It could even be as simple as moving away from your desk and doing some air squats or push-ups. Proper circulation is key for maintaining optimal health. It ensures that blood and oxygen continuously flow throughout the body, allowing every organ to function properly. It helps to heal wounds faster. It keeps your brain sharp and it keeps your heart healthy. Step 4. Nourish yourself. Nourish your mind by reading, meditating, or practicing visualization techniques that help you focus on your goals and intentions for the day. And fuel your body with a nutritious meal when you break your fast. Forget about cereal and garbage nutrition. Instead, Eat something that is high in protein, has healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. Bad nutrition doesn't just affect your body, but it actually messes up your mental well-being and can cause brain fog. In the modern world, people pretend the mental and the physical are two completely different things. But the reality is that our body and mind are directly linked, and there is no fixing your mental health without fixing your physical health. The right nutrition alongside physical training is key for having good mental health and peak performance. Step 5. Plan and prioritize your next day. When your day is coming to an end, make sure you identify the most important tasks of the next day and schedule them before you go to bed. That way, when the next day comes around, you can wake up and attack the day with a clear objective. You won't need to waste time thinking about what you should do because you got it all planned out. Your to-do list doesn't have to be long at all. Just make sure to always write down 2 important tasks for the next day. These 2 tasks are non-negotiable. It could be something like studying for 2 hours and completing a gym session. Aside from the 2 main tasks you write down, you can write down your other tasks too, but these other tasks are less important. The reason why you should only focus on 2 important tasks at most is because writing down 10 things on your to-do list becomes overwhelming, and it often leads to inaction instead of more productivity. Step 6. Sleep. Sleep is crucial, and we've discussed waking up early. But what's more important than the time you wake up is the time you go to bed. You see, people tend to only speak of wake-up times, but waking up early is meaningless if your sleep quality is bad. Instead of focusing on the time you wake up, just go to bed earlier. You will feel 100 times better that way. Here is a very simple rule I use to get amazing sleep. 1 hour before bed, turn off any screen. Use this time to write down the tasks for the next day. This clears your brain from all distractions, worries, and information. It helps you go to bed earlier and get quality REM sleep. Now, after waking up, that same rule still applies for 1 hour. So keep your phone turned off for the first hour, because our brain functions at its sharpest early in the morning, when it isn't clouded with distractions and information yet. It is the perfect time to think, strategize, and plan ahead, or make moves. Only a fool would self-sabotage by turning on his phone and consuming garbage content the first hour of the day. By the way, if you want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Until next time.